Monday, October 13th, 2025, dawned just like any other for Jake Moody, a Chicago Bears practice squad kicker. He woke up early, went through his usual morning routine, and headed to the team facility, expecting another day of hard work behind the scenes. For Moody, being on the practice squad meant staying ready, even if the spotlight rarely found him. He was used to the grind, early mornings, late nights, and endless drills, all for a shot that might never come. He figured he'd watch the Monday Night Football game from the sidelines, supporting his teammates and soaking in the electric atmosphere of Soldier Field. But everything changed in an instant, with a single phone call. The Bears' starting kicker was suddenly ruled out, and just like that, Moody's world flipped upside down. Hours before kickoff, Moody was summoned by the coaching staff. The message was clear and direct. He'd be the Bears' kicker that night. There was no time to overthink, no time to let nerves take over. Just a rush of adrenaline and a sense of urgency. Suddenly, he was scrambling to pack his gear, double-checking every piece of equipment, and mentally preparing to perform on a national stage for a team he barely knew. The locker room, once a place of routine, now buzzed with anticipation and uncertainty. The pressure was immense: primetime lights, playoff implications, and teammates he'd barely met. Every eye in the stadium, and millions more watching at home, would be on him. The weight of the moment pressed down, but there was no turning back. Moody had to adapt on the fly, learning a new playbook, syncing up with a new snapper and holder, and building trust with a special teams unit he'd only practiced with in passing. Every rep mattered, every detail counted, and there was no margin for error under the brightest lights in football. The locker room buzzed with the news, but instead of doubt, the team rallied around him. Teammates offered encouragement, coaches gave last-minute advice, and a sense of unity began to form. In that moment, Moody wasn't just a fill-in, he was their guy. For Moody, the mission was clear: block out the noise, silence the doubts, and do his job. He found a quiet corner, put on his headphones, and visualized every kick, every snap, every hold. The world faded away as he focused on the task ahead. This was the opportunity every practice squad player dreams of. A chance to prove he belonged, to show the coaches, the fans, and himself that he was ready for the moment. Years of preparation, sacrifice, and perseverance had led to this. He had to focus, knowing that every kick could decide the game, the season, and maybe even his future in the league. The stakes had never been higher, but Moody embraced the challenge. His day began with routine and repetition, but it was about to end in the blinding glare of the national spotlight. The journey from anonymity to center stage had happened in a matter of hours. The stage was set for a night he'd never forget, a night where every moment, every heartbeat, and every kick would matter more than ever before. Jake Moody's sudden promotion wasn't something anyone saw coming. Not the fans, not the coaches, and certainly not Jake himself. In the world of professional football, opportunities can appear in the blink of an eye, often when you least expect them. But this chance came at Cairo Santos's expense, a twist of fate that left the team scrambling and emotions running high. Santos, the Bears' reliable veteran kicker, had been quietly battling a nagging thigh injury for weeks. Despite his determination and the hope that he could push through, the pain was becoming impossible to ignore. On game day, as the stadium buzzed with anticipation, Santos tried to warm up, but every kick was a struggle. The trainers watched closely, and it soon became clear to everyone: he simply couldn't go on. The risk of aggravating the injury was too great, so after a tense discussion, the coaches made the tough call. Santos would be inactive for the game. It was a decision that weighed heavily on everyone, especially Santos. With just hours to spare before kickoff, Jake Moody was thrust into the lineup. The news came as a shock. One moment he was preparing as a backup, the next he was the starting kicker. There was no time to bring in outside help or sign a free agent. The Bears had to rely on their practice squad insurance, and Moody was their only option. Moody's chance came in the most demanding circumstances imaginable: a high-stakes game, a roaring crowd, and the weight of expectation pressing down on his shoulders. He felt for Santos, knowing how much his teammate wanted to be out there. But Moody also understood that this was his moment to step up, not just for himself, but for the entire team. The team and coaches were counting on him. Every eye in the locker room turned to Moody, silently urging him to rise to the occasion. This was the moment he'd been working toward his entire career, even if it arrived in an unexpected way. All the hours of practice, the missed kicks, the made ones, the pressure-packed drills, they had all led to this. The pressure was real, But so was the opportunity. Moody took a deep breath, steadied his nerves, and reminded himself why he loved the game. Now, as he ran onto the field, Moody was about to find out if he was truly ready for the spotlight. The next few hours would test everything he'd ever learned about football and about himself. Jake Moody's path to this moment was anything but smooth. Drafted in the third round by the 49ers in 2023, he faced sky-high expectations. After a promising start, things unraveled quickly. In the 2025 season opener, Moody missed 2 crucial field goals. The 49ers, chasing a Super Bowl, cut him after just 1 game. Suddenly, he was a free agent, his confidence shaken. But Moody refused to give up. He kept training, waiting for another shot. That chance came when the Bears signed him to their practice squad in September. He worked quietly, rebuilding his mechanics and confidence. No longer a high-profile pick, he was just another player grinding for a shot. His arrival in Chicago was quiet, but his moment was coming. No one knew he'd soon be at the center of NFL drama. Moody's debut came in miserable conditions: rain, wind, and a slick field. The weather was relentless, with sheets of rain pouring down and gusts of wind making every play a challenge. The field was a muddy mess, and visibility was poor. It was the kind of night that tested the mettle of even the most seasoned players. Early in the game, he faced a 47-yard field goal. The pressure was immense, with the crowd holding its breath and the opposing team eager to block the kick. The distance was daunting, especially in such adverse conditions. Calmly, he nailed it, putting the Bears on the board and settling his nerves. The ball sailed through the uprights with precision, a testament to his focus and skill. The crowd erupted in cheers, and his teammates rushed to congratulate him. The pressure didn't let up. Every play was critical, and the team relied heavily on Moody's accuracy. The coach watched nervously, knowing that each kick could make or break the game. Before halftime, he hit another from 48 yards, then a third from 41. Each kick was more impressive than the last, showcasing his consistency and mental toughness. The rain continued to pour, but Moody remained unfazed. 3 for 3, Moody was the Bears' only source of points through 3 quarters. His performance was nothing short of heroic, keeping the team in contention despite the challenging conditions. He wasn't just filling in, he was keeping Chicago in the game. His confidence grew with each successful kick, and his teammates began to rally around him, inspired by his poise under pressure. Each kick built his confidence and earned his teammates' trust. The camaraderie on the sidelines was palpable, with players and coaches alike recognizing the importance of his contributions. The weather was brutal, but Moody's focus never wavered. He wiped the rain from his helmet and prepared for each kick with the same level of concentration, blocking out the distractions around him. He was quickly becoming the Bears' most valuable weapon. His reliability in such tough conditions was a game-changer, and his teammates looked at him with newfound respect. The rookie kicker was performing like a seasoned pro. His form was flawless, and even the veteran players couldn't help but nod in approval at his composure and skill. In just a few hours, he'd gone from anonymous to indispensable. The media took notice, and the crowd's cheers grew louder with each successful kick. He was no longer just a rookie, he was a key player. The Bears' hopes now rested on his right foot. Each kick carried the weight of the team's aspirations, and Moody embraced the responsibility with grace. The night was far from over. The game continued, and with each passing minute, the stakes grew higher. Moody's performance would be remembered as a defining moment in his career. The fourth quarter brought Moody's first setback, a blocked 48-yard attempt. The miss shifted momentum, and Washington capitalized with a quick touchdown. For Moody, it was a gut punch, but he couldn't dwell on it. He processed the mistake, learned from it, and forced himself to move on. That's the mental toughness kickers need. Forget the last play, focus on the next. The block was a test of his resilience and confidence. The Bears were now fighting from behind, but Moody had to stay ready. He knew the game could still come down to his foot. One miss wouldn't define his night or his career. He trusted his preparation and waited for another chance. Redemption was still possible. The Bears' comeback was sparked by running back DeAndre Swift. Swift broke loose for a 55-yard touchdown, cutting the deficit to 2. The defense responded, forcing a crucial fumble and giving the Bears one last shot. With time running out, Chicago leaned on Swift to grind out tough yards. The offensive line dug deep, moving the team into field goal range. Every play was about setting up Moody for redemption. The tension was palpable as the Bears called their final timeout. They positioned the ball perfectly for a 38-yard attempt. The fate of the game and Moody's story rested on this kick. The team had done their part. Now it was all up to Moody. With seconds left, Jake Moody took the field for a 38-yard game winner. The drizzle and wind persisted, and the memory of the blocked kick lingered. Everything he'd worked for came down to this moment. His teammates watched, holding their breath. Moody lined up, visualized success, and blocked out the noise. The snap and hold were perfect. Moody's kick was pure, the ball soaring through the rainy night. Silence fell as everyone watched its flight. The ball split the uprights. Good. The Bears had won, 25-24, on a walk-off field goal. Moody, cut just weeks before, was now the hero. His redemption was complete. The stadium erupted in celebration. It was a storybook ending. The Bears' sideline exploded in celebration as teammates mobbed Moody. He was hoisted onto shoulders, grinning in disbelief. Hours earlier, most barely knew his name. Now, he was their hero. In the locker room, Moody deflected praise, crediting his teammates and especially Cairo Santos. Santos, despite his own disappointment, had mentored Moody all night, offering advice and support. The team's unity and selflessness were on full display. Moody's gratitude was genuine. He knew he couldn't have done it alone. The story was about more than one kick. It was about a team coming together. The Bears had found a new brother in Moody. The culture of support and resilience was stronger than ever. This win was more than just a number in the standings for the Bears. It was their second straight walk-off victory, building a new identity under coach Ben Johnson. For Moody, it was a life-changing night. He became the first Bear to win his debut with a walk-off field goal. He'd proven his resilience and earned a place in NFL history. The team gained confidence, knowing they had a reliable kicker. Moody's story became a lesson in perseverance and readiness. He was no longer a temporary fill-in, but a player with a future. For the Bears, and for Moody, this was the start of a new chapter. Sometimes, all it takes is one moment to change everything.